Alright, by now a lot of us really hardcore Star Wars fans have seen the rise of Skywalker and the conclusion to the Skywalker saga. Now, I personally like this movie a lot. I know a lot of people loved it, I know a lot of people hated it, but I think given the task at hand, J.J. Abrams and the crew did a good job. The Last Jedi really put them in a bad spot, and I think they did the best with the time that they had. I think this movie would have needed to be like 4 hours long to really do it justice and tell the story, at a really good pace. But like I said, I think they did a good job. This movie left a lot of things up to debate, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. Of the many things that I do enjoy about it, there's a lot of things left up for debate and things we can discuss for a long time to come. One of them being Anakin Skywalker and his legacy as the chosen one, and if it was tarnished or not by the events that took place in the rise of Skywalker. So that's what we're going to focus on this video, and let's get right into it. Now, I actually believe that his legacy was not tarnished. I would have done some things differently, which I'll talk about later, but we actually have some proof from the movie that Anakin did bring balance to the Force and Palpatine died once before. So both pieces of evidence we have is Palpatine says several times in the movie that he died and he was resurrected. Now, we don't know how he was resurrected, and I really hope they go into that at another time, but we already know that Palpatine died, he was resurrected, and he died by the hands of Anakin Skywalker at the end of episode 6. Now in episode 6, Darth Vader was defeated by Luke and Anakin. Mentally, Darth Vader died, Anakin came back, saved the world, killed Palpatine, and brought balance to the Force. Thanks to the help of Luke, his son. Great movie and a great ending to that original trilogy. Now the cool thing about that is balance in the Force means that both the light and the dark are equally balanced. So obviously at the end of the movie, Anakin was like the light and the Jedi, and Palpatine was the Sith and the dark side, and both of them died, which brought balance. Now that balance was obviously short-lived, as we can tell, since Palpatine was resurrected. It took him about 30 years to get to the point where he got into this movie. So, he brought balance to the Force. It didn't last like an X amount of time. Balance doesn't mean, the prophecy never said like, there's gonna be balance to the Force for 500 years. Obviously 30 years is quite a short amount of time, but balance was brought back to, the Force. And in this movie, when Rey gets help from the Jedis from the past that lend her the strength to defeat Palpatine once and for all, Anakin says, "Bring balance to the Force as I did." So there we go. Palpatine admitting that he died and was resurrected, and Anakin even saying he brought balance to the Force, it proves that he did bring balance and he was the chosen one. Now obviously Rey defeated Palpatine for the second time, and talking about that, Anakin had the most amount of voice lines out of all the Jedi that spoke to her. So even though I would have added Anakin in as a Force ghost and gave him a lot more depth into the story and not just a few voice lines, I really think Disney dropped the ball on that, and that would have been like the one big thing they could have done to this movie to really make it great and just a better overall conclusion to the Skywalker saga. Now, even though Anakin didn't appear as a Force ghost or anything, his secondary contributions to the ending of this movie were huge. So Leia and Luke are the driving force and like the heart of this movie, specifically Leia. So Leia, as we can tell, trained to be a Jedi, was training Rey, and she was just like the beacon of hope for everyone. Anytime someone thought, we're severely outnumbered and why are we even fighting this war, they always thought of Leia, and it gave them strength. Now, when we talk about Rey specifically, after she found out she was a Palpatine, was so worried and so hung up that she might fall to the dark side since it's in her blood. And when Luke talks to her as a Force ghost and stops her from destroying the lightsaber in the fire and gives her Leia's lightsaber, he tells Rey that both Leia and him knew that she was a Palpatine and decided to train her regardless, because they could see into her spirit and see into her heart that she was a good person, and it doesn't matter that she had Palpatine blood in her, that she was a Jedi and destined to do great things. So obviously we can tell that both of his kids are a huge driving factor in this movie and pretty much give all the characters the strength and motivation they need to defeat Palpatine for the second time. So that's some of Anakin's doing. And obviously throughout this whole sequel trilogy, Darth Vader has been a huge influence to Kylo Ren. He's been obsessed with, doing what he can to appease him, and that's why he got so strong. And in this movie, Kylo or Ben Solo, however you want to look at it, depending what part of the movie we're looking at, is finally stronger than Rey. Like in this movie, he's just stronger than her, and his sacrifice is the reason why Rey was even able to get all the strength of the Jedi in the first place and defeat Palpatine. So even in that instance, you know, Anakin's secondary contributions have done a lot. Now, I would have done things a lot differently when it comes to how Anakin was portrayed. Obviously, he had more voice lines than any other Jedi when speaking to Rey at the end, and I'm pretty sure they gave her strength and, you know, revved her power up a lot higher so she could defeat Palpatine once and for all. And honestly, like, I think they should have included him as a Force ghost when it was Ben and Rey fighting Palpatine, and Palpatine like sucked the energy out of them and like restored himself, and he didn't need all the machinery anymore. I think that's when Anakin's Force ghost should have came back. They should have had like Anakin like bring Ben up back from the pit. So, you know, obviously Palpatine took the Force like energy out of both Rey and Ben, and then Ben got up and he like threw him down that pit. I think they should have had later on Anakin like as a Force ghost lifting Ben up and bringing him back, and then Ben sacrificing himself and picking Rey up, and then when Rey got picked up, Anakin like transferring his energy and his power into Rey, and along with the other Jedi, and Rey finally defeating Palpatine. I think that's how they should have done it, and I think that would have been a way better conclusion. But overall, I think they did a good job with this movie, and I don't think that Anakin's legacy was tarnished. I think that they could have done a better job at telling it, and I think if they would have included Anakin more, it would have really wrapped up the saga as a whole, and it would have done just a lot more justice to it. But I still think that Anakin, you know, his sacrifice was not in vain. He had more voice lines than any other Jedi, and I think it was a good movie. Now, I hope everyone else feels the same. I know everyone doesn't. I know I've seen a lot of people say they hate it. I've seen a lot of people say they love it, like I said in the beginning of the video. But honestly, if you haven't seen the movie, you shouldn't be watching this. But if you are, please go check it out for yourself, because a lot of people can tell you things, but until you watch it yourself and you think about it, you need to make your own conclusions. And, you know, I'm not listening to anyone else. These are my own thoughts, and I enjoyed the movie. And with that, I'm going to end this video. So drop a comment below and let me know what you guys think. Would you have done anything differently? And do you think Anakin's legacy was tarnished? I think I told enough facts about this to prove that his legacy wasn't tarnished. But I know everyone else has opinions, and people, you know, always disagree on things. So I'd love to hear your side of it. Tell me what you guys think. And as always, may the Force be with you, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.